Hello, everybody, and welcome to another wonderful evening here. Finally, for once, it isn't raining this week, and we're able to be outside. I wasn't able to determine it until about 4 o'clock this evening to decide if I wanted to set up out here or not. But we were able to get set up, and the sun is shining, and it's not raining for once.
It's a miracle. It is a miracle. All this rain does is make the grass grow.
Yep. Well, if you look out here, I mowed Thursday, and it don't look like I mowed at all. So
my yard looks the same.
Next few days, I'll have to turn around and mow it all over again.
But we were probably in desperate need of some rain. To be honest with you, Mike.
Well, right before all that rain started, I mean, there was a bunch of us talking. We needed rain, the gardens and everything. Which, bad as I hate to say it, because of the yards, but I mean, out here on this part of the yard here, it was turning brown. I mean, it's dying. Sadly, it's back to green,
but it'll be green for a while probably, because I got a feeling it's going to be raining a couple of days about every week, from here on out for a while. But it's not too bad. It could be worse. It could be worse. But August is going to be hot. I can assure you. It's going to be hot in more ways.
It's usually one of the hottest months of them all. It's
extremely hot. There'll be a lot of developments take place during the month of August that will hopefully bring some closure to some things and open some people's eyes and let them see what's going on and help them to develop an opinion about where they should be in November.
Absolutely. And since the last time we were on, there's been a couple of different things that's happened. I mean, the last time we talked, let's see, we had the assassination attempt, and
we had not had
the night we were on. The Biden COVID thing came out. And we talked about how long it would be before we saw the end of Joe, and it was like a day.
I think I told you it'd be before the weekend.
Day or two later. Actually, I'm pulling into the shores of Daytona Beach, and my phone starts ringing, and it's Matthew, and I'm like, yeah, he's gone. I'm like, yeah, I know. Larry had actually just texted right before you called. He had just texted and said that. But so yeah, we've got some of that interesting stuff to talk about. We've got what else do we got here?
Well, you've got
the Olympics is going on.
The Olympics is big right now. There's a lot of controversy that has taken place with regards to the Olympics. One, with the opening ceremonies, and then two, within competition, the issue of diversity. I need to say it that way, probably. Diversity coming into effect. I mean, a lot of people have come out in anger over some of the events that have taken place.
Yeah,
and we'll dive into.
We'll dive into those. I know you're talking about a lot of the opening ceremony, some of the events, some of the sporting events that's going on over there, some of the participants. We'll dive into that. We'll dive into a all new form of weirdness.
That's another thing.
We'll dive into a form of weirdness here in a little while. But before we get started, I want to start on something a little different here tonight. It's something that a lot of people's got on their minds right now, but when it hits a little bit closer to home, you decide you want to talk about it. But before I jump into that, I mentioned the other night on the live. I mentioned on the live the other night that we do want to send the prayers out to the family of Shannon Dustin, right? Am I saying her name right? Okay. Just wanted to make sure I said her name right. It was a horrible situation, back earlier in the week, and that family needs all of the prayers that they can have. But we'll hop into it. Let's see what we. So had to briefly talk to the sponsor here, which we will have a little bit of that going on here shortly. But the topic that I was talking about that hits close to home is the current events of the Morgan County Water District. And, so I'm going to start off a little bit local here tonight. And, a lot of people probably don't know the story, the personal side of the story that has happened. So I'm going to share a little bit of that with you here tonight. But back in February of 24, back in the spring, late winter, early spring, 41% increase was, proposed. And upon research, we found out there was a lot of mismanaged funds, that led up to it. And let's see here. The PSC asked the public to show up, voice their concerns. Of course, myself and Debbie Stacy, we went up there, went home. We came we came home right after that. And, we went online. We talked about just showing people how to get on the PSC website and fill that form out. Never mentioned no names, never done any of that. And after the video aired, the rumors started to fly that we were out to ruin the water company and their employees. And there would be a live YouTube airing of the PSC hearing with the Morgan County Water District. And during this time, we would learn about the GM that was using the water company credit cards for personal use, and which would infuriate county customers. Morgan County Water District would continue to put the blame on myself and Debbie. And we got a big story here, so I have to read it. But I want to make things clear here. I love to do local stuff, and I love to do national stuff. I love to do coverage. I love to do journalism things. I'm a content creator, so that's what I do. I try to, get the content to bring out to people. So that's what I try to do. Is I try to cover all of that stuff, no matter what, especially for the locals in Morgan County. And the more research we did, the more we found out about the misuse of funds. Well, the GM then would report, and you notice I'm saying GM. I'm not saying no names. We all know who we're talking about at this point, and if they're watching, they know who we're talking about. But he would tell his employees that they were not to do business without back guns and more, and to not even be seen inside at the store. This comes after he reached out in November of 2023 asking about sending his employees over for their work clothes and their boots. Because we were doing our jobs and letting the public know what was going on, it became personal. The GM's son was dating Debbie's daughter for 3 years, and then he was forced to break up with her due to them making it personal and beginning to talk about us like we were the ones doing the wrong. We saw. Let me let the vehicle go. And this is where it starts, getting to what I'm trying to get to. We saw a 75% customer decline at the gun store. And that's just roughly numbers. Could be more. I'm honestly thinking at this point it's maybe a little higher than 75%. But basically, the customers of the county turned their back on us and stopped shopping with us, even some that we thought were really close friends. Our store has seen a struggle over the past few months due to this, to the point that we had to look elsewhere to get customers and try to stay above water, no pun intended. But, so before I get back into it, that's no lie. You've heard us in the last couple of shows talk about how small businesses are struggling and how we're struggling and everything. And, like David says here, I like the local stuff. We need to work together. And, but I wanted to share this, so I'm going to keep it going here. Like I said, if I get kicked off, I get kicked off. You okay over there?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
He's like, oh my God, what did I get myself into?
No,
So as more misdoing and fraudulent behavior continued, the sitting board members began to resign from the Morgan County Water District. As new board members were appointed, they found more corruption and misspending. All 5 board members would all soon be resigned and new ones appointed, and not long after this, the GM would resign himself, while also wiping completely clean the company iPads and cleaning and locking his computer to where no one could get in it. The computer has since been picked up and taken to Frankfurt, where it's going to be examined. We have learned the GM's resignation that the water board is currently, after the GM's resignation, the water board is now currently behind by a year on payments. This is very concerning, because this could lead to Morgan County possibly losing the water company and their customers losing water. The sad truth is that we were only doing what was best for the county to inform our friends and the customers of the county. But so many decided to side with the wrong side and befriend us. I have been told that this may impact my election and people voting for me. Yet, just like the school board election, all I was doing was standing up for my constituents in Morgan County. All I have to ask now is, how does it make you feel? Now that the truth is out and we were doing what was talking about the mismanagement of funds and nothing else, we had no clue about the illegal things that was happening at Morgan County Water District that we know of now. So shame on you and each of you, because I will not stop standing up for my county. So, basically, what I'm getting at is, if it costs me the election for standing up for the people of Morgan County, so be it. And you could take this and share it to all of the people. I don't. The problem is I don't care. Has to start speaking out. We have to
ask questions. It's not. We did not agree with the people having to pay 41% increase. That's what we didn't agree with. I said check your budget. You said check your budget. There has to be ways.
Nobody knew anything about anything going on. We never asked to make it personal between the kids, which it ended up being. Why you would tell the employees, after calling less than a year ago and asking about getting like a contract at the store to come and buy clothes, to now tell the employees they can't even be seen up there, that they can't shop there, to now all of the truth has come out. Everything is out now. Everybody, and if you don't know, you're knowing now. That KSP came and got the stuff and they took it.
There's an article in the newspaper.
There's an article in the newspaper, and I'm pretty sure you can find it. I don't know what's going to happen. I've not got that far yet. So before you start calling and asking what the next steps are, I don't know. But I'm just saying, I'm going to report to you guys. People shooting at us already. I'm going to report to you guys, because just like I said with the school board, I tell everybody on a weekly basis that I'm your voice and I'm going to stand up for each kid and everybody of the county. And that's exactly what I did with the Morgan County Water District. And if it pisses people off and you're mad at me and you don't vote for me, so be it. It is what it is. And now I'm going to get to you, but I'm going to say one other thing. Licking Valley, I see you. All right, now we're good to go. Licking Valley RECC, I'm talking about. I see you. I know you snuck in there, but do what you got to do. I'll talk about you later.
People have to stop fighting over Republican versus Democrat. I mean, let's start looking at the facts. Let's start seeing what people are doing. Quit looking at the party. That's a problem. When everyone's looking at the party, they don't.
All you care about is the party, right?
They aren't actually looking at truths. You know what I'm saying? It's just like when we see something going on, we try to make excuses because it's people we know or it's people that's family and stuff like that. You got to stop making excuses and start asking the right questions, because no one's making more money. I'll tell you, me and Larry talked about this, being in the private sector. No one's getting raises and stuff there, but all government entities want to say, oh, well, my people need raises and they need this and they need that. And it's like, dude, no one's getting raises. You all got to start.
If you need raises, then you need to start maybe doing your jobs. Maybe being a little bit more involved in stuff, and then going on and asking the courts and everything for the raises.
But we've been raised specifically in small rural communities. I think we've been raised, we've been told when we come of age to vote, we do what our parents, to a certain degree, they influence and they impact us and they mold us and they tell us what to do. And a lot of times, you register along party lines based on what you think your parents are doing and what they are doing. So what happens is, I think, for me, I'll be honest with you. I was a registered Democrat for many,
I
many,
think
many,
I think
many,
all
many,
of us
many,
was.
many, many, many years
I
in
think
this
all
county
of us was,
because
but
I felt like, I wanted to have the opportunity to vote in local elections, have an
You were told
impact,
that when you registered. I'm sure.
and I
That's what's
wanted
up.
to have an opportunity to impact those decisions that impacted me on a daily basis. But what's happened over time is, and this is my own personal views on it. You don't have to like it, you don't have to agree with it. I'm okay with that. I just found some things within the party that I disagreed with. Some of the things that they stood for. That doesn't mean that I dislike Democrats. Doesn't mean that I dislike all Democrats. I think there's quality Democrats at the national. I think there's quality Democrats at the state, and I think there's quality Democrats at the local level. But I just disagree with the principles that some of the things that party stands for. So I think what's happened in Morgan County in the last 6 to 8 years is you've seen a complete flip flop. At one time, the Democrats far outnumbered Republicans. Now the Republicans have a majority with regards to party numbers in this county.
I think that actually did that flip in the state too, as
yeah,
well.
I
And it
think,
very well may have. You look at the
or it's
last
very close to.
you
Yeah,
look
you
at the last 2 to 3 presidential elections, Kentucky has primarily went Republican. However, we have pretty much Republicans in every major office with the exception of the governor.
See, I tell people all the time. I say, I never left the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party left me. When they started getting weird and everything like that, which we'll get into the weirdness, very shortly. But I mean, things started getting weird over there, and they started standing for stuff that I just didn't believe in. So I got the
We're
heck
big
out.
supporters of taking our tax dollars and support everyone but Americans. But we also have a lot of Republicans sitting up
It goes.
there in Washington. That's the same thing. They're giving our money, our tax money that we work and that we're trying to scramble to pay all these extra expenses and stuff. They're just handing it out like candy to illegal immigrants and to Ukraine. Before Ukraine, it was
Well,
Iraq.
I don't want to give people the wrong impression. It's not only Democrats
No,
because
I said
we've
it's a
got
bunch.
people like
That's
Mitch
what I mean.
McConnell, we've got Lindsey
It's a bunch.
Graham. I can go on and on and on that are in Washington that are having an impact on legislation that is affecting Americans. We need right now. I think you came out the other day and made a post and said, we don't need party
Just need to get
affiliation.
rid
We
of the
need to
party.
get
Yeah,
rid of parties
Right.
and
yeah,
just
vote for
vote.
the person
yeah.
who
Vote for the
wants
I
person.
don't
I
think
agree.
there should be no party system at all. We should just eliminate it. You vote for who you want to, and you don't get criticized, or lashed at because of who you vote for. Everybody just votes whatever, just however you want to. But since the creation especially since like 2016 and beyond, this party system stuff's just gotten old.
I just want to know
Well,
why
and it's
Larry can't.
created
Why can't Larry
A lot
run
of
for president because he don't have enough money? Why can't a
Larry's
normal
rich.
person just run for president? And it's the same thing. Robert Kennedy can't join the debate, but yet he's one of Americans' choices too. So I don't understand the whole politics thing. I don't.
Yeah, I don't. But now, like I said, if I upset anybody, or stepped on some toes or whatever, give us a call and we'll talk live on the air because, like I said, I'm not going to stop standing up for the people of Morgan County. And Nora was asking what was going on with Licking Valley. Um, does anybody
Please.
does anybody know the percentage?
They're just taking the $13 customer charge and raising it to $30.
And that's already happened.
I don't know.
Like,
That's
as it's
happened.
already
I
been
don't know.
approved, already happened, whatever. So, it wasn't like the water board thing. I don't believe. I think it actually.
Tell her she can go to Licking Valley.
Yeah, she said she was going to get a newspaper, but I don't know if it's in the paper this week.
She can go to the
Yeah,
Facebook
Nora,
page.
you go to the Licking Valley RECC Facebook page. I think they had it on there where they were talking about it.
If I can find it, I'll send it to her.
But like I said, I've waited all week to be able to talk. I mean, it just fires me up because in a way it affects me because currently I'm at the store and I sit at that store 5 days, sometimes 6 days a week, and nobody never comes in there. She says she got a letter the other day, and nobody will come in there because everybody's butt hurt because all we did was stand up, and say, don't, if I knew you were like mismanaging funds, I'd look at you and say, Matt, if you don't do that, you'd have more money. That's all we were saying. But they took it out of context as if we were just trying to get someone's job taken away from them, which, now it has, but now we'll probably be blamed for that. But I don't know. This is the most political county.
Well, he resigned.
You
He
know,
went to Kentucky Worldwide.
he resigned and took another job. So, I mean, it is what it is. I don't really care. But, um, but when I arrived in Daytona, Matthew gives me a call and says he's gone. And I'm like, well, where'd he go? Which at that time nobody really knew. So, we'll get on to Mr. Joe, who is now 4 inches taller than he was before he got COVID. But, so what we were hearing was Biden is their man. Biden is their pick. He's everything. He gets COVID and disappears, then announces he's dropping out of the race and instantly endorses, and I've got to be careful here, Kamala. Because if you don't say the name right, you are hate speeching against her. But
Well, Biden resigned by means of X.
yeah,
and within minutes of his resignation, within minutes of his resignation as a Democratic nominee for the potential presidential race in November, his White House staff is made aware of what is taking place. Now, I know a lot of people are going to question some of the things that I'm probably getting ready to say, but I feel like
that's why we're here.
I feel like there was a lot of political pressure within the Democratic Party on Joe. Why? Because the debacle of the debate. The debate in itself made Biden look as if he had some mental deficiencies. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
And as a result of that, I think most of the country that watched that debate opened up their eyes to something that has been going on for the last 3.5 years. But it became very visual on the public scene. The stumbling of words, not being able to put coherent sentences together. And I'm not making fun of Joe, because at no point do you want to make fun of somebody who has seen their body and their
because
mind.
we're all going to be there
That's
eventually.
Exactly right. Age, it happens.
Right,
but,
Larry?
But I feel and this is my personal opinion, and you can agree or disagree, and I'm okay with that. I feel that you have to go back to 2020. Back in 2020, Nancy Pelosi basically unveiled legislation that would allow Congress to intervene under the 25th Amendment to remove a president if they were not mentally capable of doing the job. I remember Trump at the wall having a speech where he said the 25th Amendment means nothing to me. It will not affect me. But Joe, the 25th Amendment will come back to haunt you. If you remember those words, he said those words at the border wall. What's happened is, I think within the party, and this is my opinion, I think political pressure has been put on Biden that he's got an easy way or a hard way. The easy way is he steps aside because they potentially feel he probably doesn't have a great chance of winning.
Right.
So they put pressure. So the hard way would have been you invoke the 25th Amendment, you allow members of Congress, you allow the vice president, members of the cabinet to decide whether or not the president is mentally capable of carrying out the duties. And I think he just felt like the pressure was enormous. I think he resigned. He went on X and announced it. 1 minute later, his staff is basically alerted that he has resigned. There are some question marks that I have with regards to the resignation. One is this: if I am serving in an institution and I resign a position, the letterhead that I'm going to use is probably going to be from that institution. However, the letter that Joe Biden presented did not have White House stationery on it. And two, the name itself does not match the signature that Joe Biden uses on most of his executive orders, meaning it was underlined. That itself leads me to believe, Mike, that there were some other people having a political voice in this resignation.
Tony Conley says that the debate destroyed Biden, and David Hinton said he would like to see some local debates. And I'm glad he said that, because I'm just going to say it right here, Dave. I know with the school board election coming up, if the other two guys would be interested in doing it, I would be interested. If nobody wants to cover it, I've got the platform right here. We'll do it. We'll put it together, and we'll make it happen. I mean, I'm all for it. I think that's a good idea. As well as other county elections, when they come along. Hey, Wilma.
But let me add to that, Mike, what I was talking about with regards to Biden. I said the resignation letter itself has some question marks because no White House stationery. The signature's completely different than that we're normally accustomed to, and it was underlined. Well, moments later, Jill Biden tweets, and she tweets a heart emoji. Uh, within hours, the White House administration and the White House staff basically wipes Biden's schedule clean. He's not scheduled to do anything. And his family member, Frank Biden, comes out and confirms that there may have been a health factor that contributed to it. And there was some speculation that he was in Las Vegas, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And when in Las Vegas, there was some issues or some information that arose that a health issue. We know that he developed COVID. We know that came out publicly, yeah. But that some whistleblowers conveyed that he had to have an emergency evacuation from he was going to go to the hospital there in Las Vegas, but they put him on Air Force Two, flew him to, I want to say, Johns Hopkins University Hospital, and it went weeks there where it went about a week or two where we didn't even see Biden, and there came speculation that
he had died.
He had died.
I mean, there was actually some people in Congress that actually asked for a proof of life.
Yeah.
Because he gets COVID and he just disappears.
Yeah.
So people's wondering.
And then the first report, the first interview that he gave, he made a phone call. He did no live press conference. No live press conference. He did a phone call to Kamala Harris, and a lot of people speculated that phone call was not actually Biden, that it was AI generated. So the question arose, where's Joe? That went on for several days. And we know that during that time, the vice president has now tried to arouse support to get the Democratic nomination for president.
Well, yeah,
get the delegates to
within
support.
24 hours, she started receiving endorsements as being the possible nominee. 3 days. Hang on just a second here. 3 days after becoming endorsed by most major Democrats, she begins then to poll highly, creating a tight race between her and Trump. But let's not forget that she was the lowest rated vice president in the history of American presidency. So, that's where the question, why can't we just win the lottery and have like some kind of big studio built where we, but yeah, I mean, it's just like, well, I mean, let's just show it while we're on the topic. Right here you go. So, you sent this over, in which, a lot of us have seen this, come out not recently. But I mean, do you really believe it's that? Do you really believe in that? I mean, it's showing Harris 44%, Trump 42%.
Do you believe that?
No. Well, that's what I'm getting at. It's like, I don't know how she goes from like a 23% vice presidential rating to now 44% and leading the presidential polls.
Well, maybe if you understand the poll, you'll understand the numbers.
I thought you was going to say something else.
No, you got to understand the poll. There's a 3% margin of error in this poll. There's a catch. And the catch was, as we noted in 2016 and the 2020 elections, pollsters had their thumb on the scale by oversampling Democrats. So what I mean by that is, Well, they've done it again here in this poll. So what they did was they sampled 426 Democrats, 376 Republicans, and 341 independents, which gives way to those numbers, Mike.
Right.
So that's why. So it's oversampling. No,
Yeah.
there's no way. And like I said, this is not a negative knock on her, because
I'll negative knock on her.
there is nothing more that I would like to see in this country than one day for us to overcome the barrier of gender and a woman to become the president of the United States. I hope one day. I want us.
I'm so glad.
I want us to go.
David Hinton wanted to debate. He's going to get it right now. So here we go.
I mean, I do.
Do you believe? No, I'm putting you on the spot because I was put on the spot the other day. Do you believe that a woman, and you can answer in the comments too, guys, do you believe that a woman should ever be president of the United States?
I think, in my personal opinion, that the ability to lead is not based on gender. I think that there are women that are capable. I'm not so sure that I would want to choose Kamala Harris as the leader of this country. And the reason I say that is, the reason I say that is because of a lot of things that she's come out over the last 4 years.
I got Brian Kelsey saying no.
Okay, but I'm not so inclined.
You're gonna get to be you're getting ready to do your intro to the Debbie Show.
Okay,
you just got to let everybody else here go.
But I'm a firm believer in this. At a young age, we try to teach our kids, and we try to teach both males and females, that you can be anything that you want to be if you work hard enough and you give your full effort, commitment, invest yourself. So for me to say that a woman could not be the president, I would be completely foolish. Now, do I think that there are some women that the job is bigger than? Yes, but I would also say there's a lot of men that the job is bigger than. There's no way in the world that I would want to be the president of the United States because of all the political what's the word I'm looking for? The political BS that goes with it, Mike, because you got to please a lot of people in order to get. It's called bureaucracy. Sometimes you have to make concessions to the other side to get something done. If it was easy as you ascend to that position by popular vote, the electoral college elects you, you come in, you've got a majority of your political party in power, you're going to get your policies passed, and they're going to do right by people. Anybody can do that. But the problem is right now we don't always have a majority within Congress. The Senate and the House typically are divided. Right now we got 51% Democrats in the Senate. We got a Republican majority in the House. You've got divisions. All bills have to go through both establishments in the same form, same fashion in order to be passed. You can get a bill that has the necessities of the people passed in the House. It can be shot down in the Senate. And once a bill dies, that bill's dead. If we can get concessions, we can get people to work together, we can get it to the president's desk, and it's got the best benefit of the people. So for me to say that my daughters could not be president one day, I would be foolish to say that, because I would hope and aspire that they could obtain the highest position in this country. But I am smart enough to know that position comes a lot of responsibility, and it's bigger than some males and some females can handle.
Would you like to give your introduction to your new show that'll be airing next week?
I would just like to say that I am a very strong, independent woman, and I do believe that we are very capable of doing a lot of things. However, women are unique, and I think sometimes the country and the world passes over what makes women unique to the point that we allow men to become women, and women are emotional beings. We're emotional beings. There's no way around it. It's the way we were made. And guys are more logical, and they're able to detach easier than women. We have emotional connections to things. I mean, I deer hunt with Michael, right? And I love deer hunting. But I'm not going to lie. When I kill a deer, I have an emotional moment.
Soft.
Oh, yeah.
And him, he's like, yes. And like, he's all
I'm
excited.
up celebrating. I can't wait to get down there and get my hands on it. She's laying there on the ground crying and kicking. And I'm like,
and you're you're exactly right. there.
So if you have a kid, Matthew, carrying a bomb towards an office, to a group of our soldiers and stuff, I feel like it'd be very hard as a woman to disconnect that nurturing thing that we have. Sometimes it's hard to disconnect from that nurturing thing. Guys are very logical; they're able to disconnect. They have repercussions afterwards because you still see PTSD and stuff go with them. But I think in the heat of the moment, we are still very emotional beings. We're very emotional.
And I'm not disagreeing with you. But for me to sit here and say that women can't obtain that highest position, that would be sexist on my part.
Well,
And I'm not, and I don't want
I
to come off
well,
that.
and it's harder for a man to say that. But I'll
You're
tell
just
you,
weird.
as a woman, I do think that
I appreciate that.
there are reasons why, and we're unique. It's not saying that there's things that we do much better than males. That's just the way it is. It's just nature.
But we've overcome a lot of barriers in this country. Okay, who would have thought? And I say this: who would have thought that we would ever get to the position where a female would ascend to the vice presidency? So if the reason
She's horrible.
I didn't say she. I didn't. Hold up. You got to
Where's
go.
your shirt
Okay,
at? Where's your Harris shirt at?
okay. You got to go back to what I said. I said I do not think she is the best political candidate
She ain't
for
the
that
best
position.
damn.
You know, if do you want me to give you reasons why I do not think she's the best political candidate?
Yeah, 'cause she sucks.
Okay, one, I can give you several. She was ranked the most liberal senator of all 100 senators during her reign as a senator in the United States. Okay, she and you're going to say, well, that doesn't matter. Yeah, it does. Okay. As the vice president, she was in, and I'll give you the specific date because this has came in question.
He's learned this.
March 24th, 2021. Harris was named the border czar. And what has happened at the border is complete absolute failure.
Joke.
I mean, because we have mass numbers of immigrants coming across the border, unvetted, unchecked.
Yeah, she came out earlier this week.
A lot of them are criminals.
She would fix the border.
She said that Donald Trump does not care about the border. Donald Trump
But
only
she
cares
does.
about himself. That if and when she is elected president, she will fix the problem. She looked at a broadcaster from NBC and said that we have been to the border. And he looked specifically at her and said, "You have not been to the border." And her response was, "And I haven't been to Europe either." Well, you're not solving the problem if you don't go and see it firsthand and see what resources need to be allocated there to help. Right now, we have the smallest number of ICE, what we call Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents, employed at the border in the history of the United States. So we have fewer people there, but we have mass numbers coming over. You can't vet, you can't check. They're coming across, they're getting into this country. We've seen the evil that's went along with that. We've seen women get raped, murdered by people that have been captured, sent back, only to come back across the border unvetted, unchecked, and be allowed to become parties. Plus, let me add to that.
Can either of you see her meeting with Putin or Kim Jong and being able to
No.
negotiate?
That's why I said,
Absolutely not.
if you remember my words, Deborah, I do not think she
He's
is the
just
best
weird.
qualified candidate for that position. So the border is an absolute X on her side because she has not done anything to try to help that. Okay, let's go back. In early 2020 and prior to the election, we had riots going on in this country, and specifically in Minnesota. Her approach to that was, we don't need to hire more police officers. We need to defund the police. This week, she made a comment in a speech that she is a proponent of reducing the number of political prisoners in prison system. So she wants rapists, she wants murderers, she wants violent criminals back on the street. That doesn't fin well for me or you. I do not want violent people on the street.
She did in California.
That's exactly right. Okay, so there's two. Okay, I can give others. She's raised money to bail riders out of jail. But yet, during this whole time, they bailed riders out. We have the January 6th riders who have not even been given prosecution. Okay, and this week, the Biden administration made a plea deal with the masterminds of
9/11. Yeah.
going to
Gonna let them
lessen their
out. Gonna lessen
sentences.
their sentence. Yeah, I
sentences.
mean,
And the
stupid.
problem with that is
Ignorance.
we're going to deal with terrorists. And basically they have said that terrorists should get the right to vote and that illegal immigrants should get the right to vote. She wants to ban private health care. Okay, what does that mean? In 2019, she endorsed what's called universal health care and Medicare for all citizens and even illegal aliens in this country. You know what that means, Mike? Okay, we don't have private. We're gonna make it universal. You know what the problem is right now? If you go to and this is the truth, and if anybody wants to dispute it, dispute it. Call and try to
Please dispute it.
call and try to get a doctor's appointment anywhere in this country, anywhere in this county. And this ain't nothing against doctors, and it's not. It's just there is a waiting line. It may
Not
be
even if it's emergency.
okay. It may be months before you get to see someone in the medical field, a doctor.
Well, Larry can tell you all about that.
Okay, but here's the thing: do you think that if you give universal health care, that's going to be any better? You're not going to get to choose your doctor. You're not going to get to choose. You don't even get. It'll be decided for you, and that's one thing that most people like about situations in life is choice, individualized choice. You get to choose your doctor. You have a comfortable relationship with somebody. Instead, I go and see somebody that I don't know, I don't trust, and I'm going to feel like they're not doing what is in the best interest of me. I mean, and I can go on here. She supports.
Won't you just keep going on?
She supports.
You've got Dad fired up over there.
She supports mandatory gun confiscation. She said this week it was a great idea to confiscate all weapons, and stated that if Congress doesn't agree, she'll take executive action to make sure that guns are confiscated in this country.
That's on day one. I've got that here. She says on day one, the day she takes office, she will sign it.
Okay,
it's a constitutional right. How can she do that and it be enforced? The Supreme Court would step in on that. It's unconstitutional.
Do I need to go further? You want me to go on?
I can't stand
okay. She's compared. Okay, she's compared immigration and customs enforcement agents to the KKK. They're these people are hired by the government. They're a government agency and organization to carry out a job, and that's to make sure that our border is safe and secure. We would like to be able to lay down at night knowing that that convicted felons and people that do bad things, terrorists, are not going to be in this country. That if we can get them out and keep them out, let's do that. Let me go further. Day one, they attacked oil. The Keystone XL pipeline was closed down. They want to ban fracking or offshore drilling, which can generate economic funds and money. And they talk about she's big on what we call the Green New Deal. The problem with the Green New Deal is if you need to people need to look into the Green New Deal. She made the comment in a speech that if we invest in, now listen to the words, this is her words, these are not my words, these are her words. We need to invest in cleaner energy. We need to invest in resources that can help make the air better, cleaner air, and we need to reduce the population. If we reduce the population and invest in cleaner energy and cleaner air, kids will be able to breathe and live longer.
Did she say how we'd be reducing that population?
That's a good question. What do you think that entails?
Well, when China reduced their population, they only allowed a family to have one child, and if you had more than one child, then you had to. Some of them they put to death. Some of them they adopted out. I mean, that's the way they did population control.
So you thought that I believed that Kamala Harris was the best candidate for the position.
I've never thought
okay, but let me tell you what else. Another reason I do not think that she is the right candidate for this position is because I think, and I say this, and people are going to get mad when I say it, she's a fraud. So. She's a fraud.
She doesn't even know her own personal identity.
This week, she plagiarized a story by Martin Luther King Jr. Martin Luther King Jr. made mention of a story about a little girl that was watching a demonstration, and a police officer came up to her and said, "What do you want?" And she said, "I want freedom. Freedom." And then she talked this week that she supposedly was at a demonstration in Oakland, California with her mother, and her mother asked her, "What do you want, Kamala?" And, "I want freedom. I want freedom." She, like Joe, has plagiarized things, and they've done things that have brought negativity. Now, do I think Trump's a saint? No, but I think his policies will be America first. I think you're going to have $11,000 more in your pocket in your middle class, and big business, big business is going to make money, but so too are what we would call small business.
So's the Kamala fan.
So what I'm telling you is,
Kamala.
people.
Matthew, you say it's going to happen under Trump. My biggest thing with people is that they are delusional about the 4 years we had with Trump already, because I've heard people say he's going to take women's rights.
He's not okay.
Okay.
I saw a video this week, and I wish I had it because I would play it. The individual was speaking after Kamala she went on the RuPaul show, which is an advocate of LGBTQ community, and not got a problem with that. But this person in the video was LGBTQ, and they basically stated that there is no way that they could support that, because what's happening is they publicize. Kamala comes out and says that Trump doesn't care about the border. Okay, my question is, does Kamala care about the community she so rightfully claims she cares about? Because what's happened is, if she cared about them, she wouldn't be trying to hurt them, because there are things that are getting hurt in the process. And that's what this individual said. He said, I am LGBTQ and I am not going to vote for her. Why? Because she's using this as a political stance to get my vote, when in reality she's not going to do anything to help me. So what's happening is a lot of people in this country have started to open up their eyes, because I think people think that because Kamala Harris claims that she is African American, that she will get the African American vote. But there are a lot of African Americans that are coming out in opposition to her, because they feel like she does not do anything to help them, except when it's time for the polls to come out. And you can't contest what Trump did for African Americans. He said it at a rally and everybody laughed. He said, "I did more for African Americans. I've done more than any other president since Abraham Lincoln for African Americans." You talk about uh, uh, historically black colleges and universities, lifetime funding. African American unemployment rates were an all-time high. You get unemployment black rates at an all-time low. You get women of race, specifically African American nature, that were given potential positions of leadership. So things happen.
Miranda says Black Lives Matter came out against her.
There you go.
So
And I don't want to sound like I'm browbeating her, but the problem is
What does she
at least Joe was visible during the 4 years. At least Joe took stances. She has kind of been in the background, unnoticeable. She had one job, and that was the border. And what'd she do? Nothing.
It said, Jonathan Trusty says, it was just reported she has fired the Biden campaign managers and hired the Obama campaign managers. Tough times for Trump. I mean, that's time for you to leave, man.
And I'm not saying that, I've said from day one that I felt like when she went to nominate a vice presidential candidate, she would nominate either Hillary, or I felt like she would nominate Michelle Obama. I feel like that's probably her best chance. A lot of people will tell you differently. Some people think this Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania,
That
is the
seems
best
to be the front runner. What they're saying, I don't know.
But we're not 100. Okay, hold up. What I will look at you and tell you is, if if Kamala's public appearance continues to take a hit like it has in the last week, and you just said that over the last week her
Yeah.
ratings have what?
Yeah.
Well, they may get, they may just, they may decide that, hey, we're going to go in a different direction. You never know.
Here you go, guys. This is when she was asked about the gun confiscation. So here was the reply to it.
Adding to your gun control agenda? I think it's a great idea, but I mean, listen, I don't think we lack for great ideas. As I've said many times, we've been having great ideas for decades. The problem is that
Oh, great.
Congress has not had the courage to act. And that is why, from the beginning, I have said my agenda includes attempting to get Congress to act, but if they don't within the first 100 days of my administration, I'm going to take executive action. Because what we need is action.
So there you go. Within the first 100 days, she's going to take action. And if they don't, she will.
And I reported that. I reported that exact same video just moments ago. I said it pretty much verbatim what she said. And, she's going to claim that all the problems that are America's problems are because of Biden. Well, they were a team, Mike. And people need to realize that. They are a team. The things that have happened over the last 3.5 years are not to be blamed solely on Joe Biden. Those problems are, she is the vice president. She has to take her fair share.
Well, especially,
of the blame.
before we went on the air, me and you saw the thing where she stated that Trump wasn't going to be best for the border. She would be best for the border because she always does everything. And I'm like, you've been the border czar since 2021 and have done nothing.
Okay,
but destroy it.
Let me say this, Mike. And like I said, I'm not laying all the blame on her. I'm not. But I am going to say that she is part of the blame. Okay, things that have happened during the last 3.5 years that are associated with the Biden Harris administration. These are what they call the Biden Harris accomplishments. Historic inflationary crisis. I see people say we don't have an inflationary crisis, Mike. I see people say, if that they're better off right now than they were 3 years ago. Put this on here, Mike.
Look at there.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. If you think you're better off now than you were 3.5 years ago, just look at this, and that's reported by, if I'm not mistaken.
That looks like Fox.
There you go.
But I don't know.
Overall prices up 17%. Food costs 25%. Gas prices 40%. Credit card debt, that's the biggest debt in this country right now.
I'm a part of that. So
46%. Home sales down 26%, and real wages down 2%. So she's part of the historic inflationary crisis that is part of this country. Okay, you've got record high gas prices in all 50 states. We went from $1.87 to go down here right now, average about $3.09. But if you go other places, it could be as high as $5 a gallon. Okay, record high consumer debt. Right now, and I hate to say this, there was a report the other day where I saw a video where one of them, the legislators, was talking to somebody in a congressional hearing, and they were talking about if a certain salary, if a woman worked 40 hours a week and she drawed minimum wage, what she would have to pay for rent, clothing, food, you can add car expenses, gas in there, to a job, daycare. She was like $60 to $80 in the hole at the end of the month. At the end of the month, if not more. And that's working class families. So you've got released terrorists into this country. The border czar. That was her one responsibility, her one job. So she should have made that a priority. The Ukraine-Russia war. Okay, I look at you and say this: Robert F. Kennedy Jr. came out a week ago and stated, Mike, that the Ukraine Russia war could have ended, but instead, Biden
on the
sent
side on the
Biden
towards
sent
on the toward Biden.
Boris Johnson over there and convinced Zelensky not to surrender. This war could have been avoided. Mass numbers of lives could have been saved. But instead, it's all because we want to ensure that Putin doesn't impose his will on these people. Do we know all the factual data behind that war? Do we? We don't know all of it. Okay, disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. You remember it, June 21st.
Oh yeah, we come on the air like the next night or
The
so.
$85 billion worth of military equipment
Just left.
just left. And the worst part was 13 Americans' lives were lost in the process back. And I say this,
and many
and in the debate,
Americans left there.
and in the debate, if you remember the
He
debate,
said nothing. Nobody had
ever died. Nobody had ever died on his watch. Well, we have had more American embassies lost during his presidency in the last 3.5 years than we had the last 50 to 60 years. Okay, I can go further. Violent crime skyrocketing across this country. Go into cities like Chicago, where the crime rate is out of control. Detroit, Memphis.
You couldn't give me season tickets to the Cubs, and me go to every single game.
Okay, you've got the Israel-Hamas war. Okay, we allowed 15 million, if not more, unvetted, unchecked illegals into this country. We declared war on American energy. We were energy independent for the first time in 50 to 70 years, and all of a sudden we're going to try to eliminate coal, we're going to eliminate oil, fracking, and we're going to become dependent on foreign countries for these things when we're doing it ourselves. Why would you not want to be self-sufficient? It creates jobs. Record low test scores for K-12 students across the country during their years, and most unpopular president and VP in the history of the United States of America. That's why I feel all those issues have to be the top priority when people go to the polls. It's not an issue of party versus party. Like I told you, I've got friends that are Democrats that I have a great deal of respect for. And listen, we can agree to disagree and we can walk away and still be friends. But when it comes down to issues, it has to be the issues. Okay, working class families. My number one issue is, and I know most people in this county, their number one issue is their energy bills and their electric bills, and go on top of that, their grocery bill. If you're paying $400 to $500 more a month for groceries, I don't know how you're living.
Well, people are struggling. The people just don't have extra money. And I mean, that's what I'm saying is don't look at parties. Look at when did you have more money?
And like I said, I'm not saying Donald Trump doesn't have his faults. I'll be the first to tell you. You know, he's probably done some things that he's probably not proud of. And I know Americans, like I said, I think the media publicizes those things. You know, okay, I saw something today. Okay, when Bill Clinton was in office, he was accused of having a marital relationship with Paula Jones in Arkansas. The media did not believe Paula Jones. They did not believe Paula Jones. They believed Bill Clinton 100%. All right. There was a woman named Tara Redding, if I'm not mistaken, during Biden's administration. What happened? During Joe Biden's term as a senator, they did not believe that woman. Now all of a sudden you've got this lady that accuses Trump, and everybody believes the woman and not Trump. So I mean, you got a double standard, you know. And I'm not saying that Trump didn't make mistakes. He probably has. He's human, and but I'm looking at it from the standpoint of, was America strong? Was America in a position where people respected our military? They respected our country. They respected us. If he said, you crossed the line and you've done more than we're going to allow you, most people around the world stopped.
See what you done, Deb. You've got him fired up. You've got him started. But I've got the most important question for him of all right here at the end of this stuff. For the last 20 minutes, he's told us why she's not the person that he would support, what she's done, all of her failures, but he has failed to answer one question. And you've only talked about the last week and a half since she came out. Where is Joe Biden? Because technically he's still the president. So since he came out on national television and he was 4 inches taller than what he's supposed to be, you know, he gave his little speech for about 10 minutes. Nobody's seen him since.
So do you think
So
he's
all of
kind
a sudden, she's the only thing you see. She's the only thing people are talking about. Where is he at?
okay? And the media, the same media that that has for so long tried to tell you that Joe Biden was this and Joe Biden was that. Now they're telling you completely the opposite. Those are the same people that are trying to tell you that now she's a credible candidate for the office of president.
Well, they're also reporting that 49% of Americans that were for Trump have now switched their vote to her.
Oh,
You know, that's what the mainstream media is reporting, and it's like,
well, I told you,
if they are, that's 49% idiots. You know, I'll just be honest with you. You know, I don't like, you don't want to talk about people too bad, but that woman is just out there. You know, there's no other way to say it. I mean, all we've ever known of her is, besides destroying stuff, is just being the cackler. You know, just sitting around and laugh. I mean, she can't talk an entire sentence without busting out laughing. So, you know, I do not understand how in just a week and a half, whatever it's been, that she can be in total control of this race. You know, polling so high. And I've got this right here, which is the accomplishments, and I'll bring it up here. Here's the Biden and Harris accomplishments. So,
yeah,
I mean,
I sent that.
it's not that hard to, you know, it's not that hard to see how great their accomplishments are. I'll leave them up there for a few seconds so everybody could read them. But I mean, you know, that's finished dead last in the Democrat primaries in 2020.
Okay,
No
okay, give you another, Mike. All right. Supposedly, she set an all-time record for political donations, amounts of money that were raised by donors in 24 hours. $81 million. In 2018, she dropped out of the presidential race. You want to know what her number one reason for dropping out of the presidential race was?
So,
Couldn't raise enough money. She had 1% approval rating. 1%. Okay. And you're telling me that now all of a sudden these people are going to rush to the table to donate money to her? Not happening. Not happening. Sorry.
yeah.
And I do know this: Donald Trump has filed a lawsuit with the Federal Elections Commission over $91 million. Joe raised $91 million through donors, and they're trying to transfer that $91 million to her. That should not happen. That is illegal. That $91 million should go back to donors, and then donors should have the right to decide what, if they want to give or not give. No, what they did was they transferred funds. It's illegal,
Well,
is what they've done.
what gets me too, I mean, you know, and you don't have to like Biden, you know, most people don't, but he did win the primaries. You know, he went through all the primary elections and was selected by the Democratic Party to be that, not, you know, to be, you know, he was going to go down to be their nominee. She hasn't won a primary. Not one person voted for her to put her. She's not won a primary, nothing this entire year. You know, they just say, hey, we're kicking him out. She's in. You know, it's like, and then that goes along with the donations and stuff you're talking about. He raises all this money,
He had $91 million.
now they just hand it to her. She ain't raised nothing.
And that's not legal. You can't
know,
do that. The Federal Elections Commission controls that. And what's happened is Donald Trump has filed a lawsuit. I'm telling you, that money cannot be transferred to her. It cannot. That is illegal. That money should go back to the donors that gave, and then they have the right to decide.
Nora says her downfall will be when she debates Trump, if she does.
Well, I saw something
And
today
I actually just read a thing a minute
they
ago
had it. Okay, they had agreed that on September the 4th there was going to be a debate, but she has now stated that she will not debate Donald Trump on September the 4th. That she wants to debate him on September the 11th. There are some conflicts of interest, and I'm going to tell you why. On September the 4th, the 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 the, the debate was to take place in front of a full audience on NBC, with moderators with some of the same rules that they had in the last, which, you had the mic. If you start talking, they just turn your mic off.
And I like that.
And
I
that's
mean,
not a
like
bad
that.
thing.
That was
Not a
nothing
bad
problem
thing.
there. Yeah.
But okay, they're going to do that. Okay. Problem is, she doesn't want to do that on NBC. She wants to do it on ABC. Donald Trump has a lawsuit with one of the journalists from ABC. It cannot happen. Therefore, they want to make Trump look like he's avoiding her. Trump's not avoiding her. Trump will debate her. And you'll find out what will happen when he does.
Yeah,
it will be a mockery of what was to be.
Yeah, Melina actually brought up a good point here. I hear a lot of people say I don't like Biden, but I can't stand Trump, so I don't have nobody else to vote for, so I've got to vote for Biden. Well, that's not true. There is an independent candidate. There is a third guy on that ballot, RFK Jr.
Well, I'm going to say something. I'm going to say something.
No matter how you feel about him, and you don't know. I mean, we've had people come in the store and say, "Yeah, I don't like Biden. I can't stand him, but I cannot vote for Trump because of the person that he is. So I'm going to vote for Biden." And it's like,
you have people saying, I'm going to ask this, okay? So they don't like Trump because of the person he is, but they're okay with Joe Biden with the person he is.
That's what I've always wondered too. It's like, Trump. I'm just going to say it and try to water it down the best I can. Trump grabbed a woman by the Biden showers with the kids. So it's like, which one? I'd rather, think someone said vote for the felon or whatever. I'd rather vote for the guy who at least touches women and not the guy that sniffs the kids and takes showers with his teenage daughter. It's just kind of creepy to me, but, it's, I don't know.
And we've seen censorship that has impacted elections. You cannot tell me that the 2020 election was not impacted by the media, and the media impacted it in many ways. One, they tried to basically conclude that Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, and the laptop was Russian disinformation.
But there was no laptop.
We know that exists.
Yeah, we knew that. We sat right here and talked about it for months. Even when the mainstream was reporting that it was fake, and then all of a sudden they come out.
Then they came out and stated that Ashley Biden's diary was disinformation. It didn't exist.
We reported on it.
Okay, but yet there is a woman, a person in Florida that went to jail for having stole it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we know it existed. So what the media does is they try to they give a narrative, and the narrative is, here's the recent narrative. Let's talk about it. Trump assassination attempt. If you went on to Google or Facebook and tried to find anything about it, what happened?
It takes you straight to Kamala Harris.
Wow.
On Google, if you type in Donald Trump, what was it, Donald Trump rally or something like that, it would take you to anything Harris. So
they have
Google's what, probably the biggest online search engine.
And they have came out as of today. They have came out and admitted that they were wrongly censoring the Trump attempted assassination photo. That this is Facebook and Google, because
what photo were you talking about?
Huh? That one right there.
Something like that.
Yeah, they were. Yeah. Legends never die, baby. Legends never die.
Hang on just a second, you guys. How about that right there? Legends never die. Now let's go back to the photo, Matthew.
But what happened was
most famous photo.
That photo was being censored by Facebook and Google. So what's happened is that is, in my opinion, that is interfering in an election to try to sway people to believe that Trump didn't survive an assassination attempt. All of that's a mockery. All of that was made up. Trump has basically come out and said the reason he survived was by the grace of God. And we found out in the last week more information about the assassination plot, the assassination attempt against Donald Trump. There's a lot of question marks about that assassination attempt. It makes you believe that it's a what? An inside job.
Yeah. And then the FBI comes out in the last week and even tries to say that he never even got hit with a bullet at all. That it was like a ricochet of something flying off, or like the shrapnel and stuff that hit him in the air that no bullet ever hit him. So I mean,
they came out this week and concluded that
ain't it funny how everything is this big?
that the Department of Homeland Security, which is over the presidential detail as far as Secret Service is concerned, had rearranged the detail of their most experienced people to an event in Washington that was associated with NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, and that they had put unprepared and inexperienced Secret Service agents of diversity for detail of Trump. I mean, there's a lot of question marks. And I just, it makes me think that, usually where there's smoke, there's fire. And
where there's smoke, there's fire.
So I say that, but I just don't believe that you can be the most unpopular vice presidential candidate in the history of the United States, Mike, and then one day raise $81 million when you couldn't get enough money to stay in the race in 2020. And now your popularity is enormous after 4 years of failure, being in the background, not doing anything, cackling, laughing, and basically riding the coattails of Joe Biden, and he did what?
Yeah,
not a lot of successful things. So I don't know.
There's Plan A, Plan B, and Plan C.
Well, Plan C, I'll say this: Plan C, you need not look any further than the country of Venezuela to find Plan C.
Exactly. If you've been anything, and I don't even have TV, so so that tells you how bad things are getting now. But I'm able to keep up with the Venezuela stuff.
We're a communist leader who is absolutely detested by his people, has stayed in power for over 20 years, and in the election, he declared himself the rightful winner, closed down the polls, knowing he's getting what? Getting beat. And there are countries that have come out today, like Argentina and other countries, that are saying they rightfully support the other candidate as the president of Venezuela. And they're going to get rid of communism. It's gone. And that's a start. They've tried for 20 years. And between me and you, if we allow what's happened over the last 4 years to impact our lives for 4 more, there is a doubt in my mind that the democracy, the republic that we are, is gone.
Yep. We've said many times on the air, and most of you's even talked with us, off the air and out in public, and that was when Biden was, still in the race. That another 4 years under Biden, the country would be destroyed. But if you take 4 years under this lady, it'll be over with. As she's already said, it'll be over with in the first 100 days.
My first question is, okay, if you're the president of the United States of America and you care responsibly about the constituents of your country, and you've had an inflationary crisis for the last 3.5 years, where is the end? What is your plan? What is your solution? There has to be something done to help this. Well, I can tell you how to solve it. You want me to tell you how to solve it, Mike? I can solve it in a matter of 24 hours. And you're going to say, well, you're a political genius. And you know what I'm going to say? You're 100% right. Yes, I am a political genius. You know what I say we do to solve it? Look at me, Mike. I can solve high inflationary rate. I can solve it.
Can we get the money that Ukraine?
We get $1 million for every citizen in America that we're giving in foreign aid to somebody else. Yeah. And you watch, hold up, because I had a buddy of mine post something that said, he talked about the inflationary crisis in this country. And his response to that was, there's either one of two things that's going on. If you don't see the inflationary crisis, either you have so much money that it doesn't matter. If you're a millionaire, $500 a month is what? Nothing. You're a billionaire. $5,000 a month is nothing. $10,000 is nothing. Or you just don't want to see the problem. And a lot of people just don't want to see the problem.
Also, since we've been talking about the last week, the left has come out and stated that Donald Trump is now going to take away the seniors' Social Security benefits.
Oh my God.
Donald Trump, I even got it right here, on 7/31/24 over on his Truth Social, sent out a thing that says seniors should not pay tax on Social Security.
I agree with that 100%. I believe if you're
That was just 4 days ago, guys.
I believe
right
if
there
you're
he is.
62 years or older, or 60 years or older, that you've paid taxes every day of your life, you shouldn't have to pay another dime of tax. And as a result of that, you could live. You wouldn't have to be on a fixed budget or a fixed income. You would have money to spend.
And I do believe that he came out earlier this week during a speech and stated that seniors would not lose their Social Security, that he would not tax Social Security or tips. I believe that that's exactly
the other thing was big.
And I mean, I've heard people say, I have had people look at me and say that Donald Trump is going to put people in concentration camps. And I'm like, did you live during the last 4 years of his administration? You were not in a concentration camp. Now, was there problems in America? Yes. Is there problems in America right now?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Major problems.
And a lot of those problems are created not by we, the people, they're created by the media. They create the divisions in this country. They do. Okay, like right now, I saw a thing where Donald Trump said, I do not want to be president for just 50% of America. I want to be president for all Americans. All Americans.
But I feel like he proved that with his 4 years he was in, though. We were on a good road until COVID happened.
When did Joe Biden become a bad guy? When did Joe Biden become a bad guy to the media? No, to the media. When? When? Joe Biden became an enemy of the media after the debacle of the debate. Right. Okay, as soon as that debate took place and it was out there for people to see, the media turned on him like that. They've abandoned him, and they've tried to turn and make Kamala look like she was doing all this stuff and Joe's to blame. Well, that ain't the case.
My thing is if I was the Democratic Party, which I'm not registered Democrat, so it didn't affect the primary I voted in, but they knew Joe had issues before the primaries. Why didn't they give the Americans a choice who they wanted on the ticket?
Well, when you stepped out a minute ago, that's what we talked about.
He didn't have a political debate.
She never won a single primary. And, Matthew was talking about how all the money that was raised from the Biden campaign has now just been switched to her, which is $91 million. $91 million has just been handed to her, and now she's probably handing the nomination, and she ain't have to win anything. Like Biden or not, he at least was on the ballots in these primaries, and people had to vote. Had their chance to the voice. If they wanted to vote for him or not. And all of a sudden, she's just put in there.
And okay, let me. I got to be cautious how I say this because I don't want to offend anybody. Okay, we're not. We don't. This election should not be about race. Would you agree with that?
Actually, I saw a panel of like 8 African Americans that were debating who they were going to vote for, and one lady said, I'm going to vote for Kamala because I'd like to see, and they said, why? Why are you voting for Kamala? And she said, or Kamala. Kamala, sorry. And he said,
hate speech.
Or she said, because I'm not going to lie to you, I would like to see a black woman be president. I'd like to see a woman be president. I'd like to see a black person be president. And one of the guys goes, hold on a minute. Let's talk about this for a minute. He said, identity politics. So you're voting because she's black, which is racist in itself. He said, and then you're voting because she's a woman. So we're doing it based on identity politics and not her policies or what she's done. He said it didn't work with Obama. He said Obama did nothing for the black people. He said he did stuff for elite. He said, and then he named off several others. So I know it's a conversation they're having.
But you've got right now, there was a thing this week. Once again, this week, go back to that. White dudes for Kamala. Have you seen that?
But there it is.
Oh my goodness.
It's on the screen right now. But white dudes for Trump would be considered a racist hate group.
That's right. It would be.
So that's on the screen here now. I mean, it's
So we have a double standard in this country. We have a double
well, if
standard.
you said I'm voting for someone because they're white, it would be horrible.
Yeah. No, I'm going to vote for the candidate that I feel gives America be the superpower that it needs to be. Let us be in a position of power. Let Americans prosper. Let there be joy and happiness, not struggle.
That's right.
That's who I vote for.
so you're talking about joy and happiness, and we have talked for an hour and 20. Well, I talked for a while. An hour and 15 minutes about Kamala.
Yeah.
So why don't we go over to some joy and happiness, if I can ever get over there, and we're going to talk about the Olympics.
Well,
joy and happiness, guys, the Olympics. Yes. I hope everybody is enjoying that because I haven't watched a single second, never will. But it is all over the news. So, where do we start?
Where do you want to start?
I guess we start with the opening ceremony. And somewhere on here, I thought at one point in time I had some pictures. I'll have to go find them for you. Well, I'll let Matthew start, and I'll bring you pictures up here.
Okay, well,
let me get them for you.
Let's talk about the opening ceremonies. The opening ceremonies are typically something that people look forward to because all the participants from each country, certain participants have been chosen to adorn and carry the flag for that respective nation. It's a time of unity, a time of peace, a time of tranquility. People come together with respect in competitive competition. What does the world see on the night of the Olympic Games opening ceremony? They see 2.3 billion people and their religious beliefs get made fun of. And I had somebody come on, an esteemed preacher in this area came on and gave his opinion, and there were people
and I respected it.
I respect. Hey, listen, and there were people that were condemning him for his opinion. He is entitled to his opinion, and and they were basically saying that he was making a mountain out of a molehill, that this was not what it was. It was a representation of something else and not what he thought he saw. But yet, I sent you a picture, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they're coming through right now.
Okay. I sent you a picture of where the Paris Olympic Committee publicly apologized to Catholics and other Christians.
Well, I'd apologize if it wasn't
okay.
what
If
you
it ain't
meant.
true, then what?
Actually, I
sent it to him.
I'm pulling it up right now.
So
I just send it over
here you have a venue whereby we're trying to promote peace and tranquility. People get along in harmony during competitive competition, but yet you take a political stance and make fun of a religion, and specifically target Jesus and Christianity and Leonardo da Vinci's representation of the Last Supper.
Yeah,
absolutely mind-boggling and disgraceful. Why? Because I say this, and I'm not the most religious person you will meet. So for me to
I've been wrong all along about
okay, but for me to say this, okay, 2.3 billion Christians in the world. If someone would have attacked Islam, what would have happened?
In an uproar.
Jihad. Jihad.
Which one of
these? Which is an internal struggle, which people have construed to mean a holy war.
Right here you go.
If there would have been, yes, that's it. If there would have been a mockery made of Jews, people would have been upset. If there would have been a mockery made of Buddhists, people would have been upset. If there would have been a mockery made of Hinduism, Taoism, I can go on. There's many, many, many religious disciplines and teachings. It's not the political place to do that. But yet, the committee let this guy do this, and it just completely set the tone for a lot of people have turned off the Olympics. They don't want any part of it. Okay. Add to that, I know people didn't see this, but they should have. During that opening ceremonies, they showed a picture of predictive programming. Programming. A lot of people may have not paid attention to it, Mike. And the predictive programming was they showed a picture of the United States of America and the Statue of Liberty. What was flying over it? A hot air balloon. Okay, and the Statue of Liberty was badly battered, beaten up, and weakened. Okay, we know that that's predictive programming, because what's happened in this country in the last 6 months? Have we had any hot air balloons fly over the United States? You remember the Chinese balloon that flew over? It started out on the West Coast and flew all the way to South Carolina. We've had multiple balloons do that. That is, in my opinion, this person's attempt. It's a full-blown attack on freedom, depicting a post-American world after its collapse. Well, I'm just going to tell you, if America falls to all of the wrongful things that are going on in the world, the rest of the world will follow suit. Now, I haven't got to the most important part of the Olympics. Okay, the open ceremonies attempted to mock 3 billion people. Okay, you've got predictive programming where you're looking at the United States as a weakened, battered country, and the Statue of Liberty, which represents the greatest sign of freedom in the world, with a Band-Aid on it. You know that's saying it's battered and beaten up. Okay, the last is what's happened in the last couple of days controversy, where you have a person that identifies as something else, a male who identifies as a female, that participated in boxing. Now, every committee, every sport got to choose whether or not they would allow transgenders to participate. Boxing chose to allow it to happen. And in the process, we have an athlete from Italy who was representing her country, fighting for her father, hoping to aspire to win a medal, who had to compete against somebody that was bigger, faster, and stronger. And what I mean by stronger is it only took 2 hits in 46 seconds
for that woman to back out, to just say, heck with this, I'm out of here.
And she
earlier today, this fighter here, whoever this person is, actually won again today.
And so what's happened is in our world, in my world, I've been told that men don't hit women.
Men don't belong in women's sports either.
Okay, I've got two daughters. This affects me. I've got 2 daughters. This does affect me. Why? Because my 2 daughters are hard workers. My 2 daughters invest themselves in their skills and their abilities, and they've honed their craft. They are trying to compete. It is unfair to give someone an unfair advantage over my daughters. Therefore, I feel like my voice is important to us. Why? Because it can affect my daughter collegiately. And it's been going on for the last 3 years. It just so happens that most of America just opened up their eyes most of the world just opened up their eyes at the Olympics. It's been going on in swimming.
Done away with Title IX.
You're right.
Came about because it wanted women to have
equity,
a fair chance at sports. We can't play with men. That's why they separated them and stuff, because physically, again, there are differences. It's not a bad thing. Everybody acts like it's a bad thing because a woman can't be a man and a man can't be a woman. It's just that there are differences physically by DNA. But Title IX was supposed to do that. Everything they've done for women's rights is being erased. It's being erased. Not by Donald Trump.
So do you think there's an attack on women's rights?
I think that we've just erased everything we've worked for, because now it's just like, I mean, how many instances has this happened in sports? You had, what was the swimmer?
Leah Thomas. Penn University. And
they finally suspended all of that.
And Riley, what was her name?
Riley Gaines.
Riley Gaines from University of Kentucky won a lawsuit against the NCAA, won millions of dollars.
She's not happy about this boxing.
Well,
thing
I
either,
mean,
which I don't blame
okay,
her. But
but who is happy about this, Mike? I wouldn't.
but
Okay, that would be like saying, okay, I'm going to put my daughter in a boxing ring with you. You're
he
bigger.
probably whipped my ass.
Well, no, she was.
But I mean,
I don't.
yeah, I agree. I would agree with Brianne there. I hope they put Mike Tyson in a dress and he comes out in the last round. I promise you that ain't going to last long.
Or Logan. I even seen something where Logan. What is
Yeah,
it?
hell, let Logan Paul
Okay, I
fight.
mean, hell, he's even said something about it.
Or Jake Paul, or
Yeah,
whatever.
Jake Paul.
Whichever one of the Paul brothers.
Yeah.
But now, all I know is Deborah. Deborah was talking about it a minute ago. See, that's all you hear from the left lately is we have to stand for women's rights. You know, Donald Trump doesn't stand for women's rights. Donald, no. But George, I just had it up there where Kamala saying we have to support this dude who's dressed as a woman fighting women's sports. So you don't respect women's rights. You're against it because, like she said, women fought for women's rights. No offense, gays fought for their rights. Hell, they should be ashamed at this point because they're taking away their rights and giving it to all this other junk.
Probably one of the most single important. And our country's come a long ways, and it still has ways to go. I'm not going to say it doesn't have ways to go with regards to gender equity. We still have a long ways to go.
Logan Paul just lost his wrestling match tonight, so it's Jake Paul that's the one that we're trying to think of.
Okay, in that the 19th Amendment gave women the right to vote. You got people like Susan B. Anthony who went into a polling booth dressed as a man and then came out and revealed she was a woman and was arrested and because she wanted the right to be equal. So we eliminate that barrier, give women the right to vote. We've tried to make sports more equitable, where the same amount of money is appropriated for a female athlete as it is a male. Because we typically know, and I don't mean this being mean, but it happens, where male sports sometimes get more financial assistance than female sports. It happens. And that doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't mean it's fair. But Title IX was implemented in the 70s to try to equate women to be equal to that of men. Okay, and now we're taking a step backwards. They renounced that. They did away with Title IX. It doesn't exist anymore. But most people say, yes, it does. Yes, it does. Look it up. It doesn't what? It doesn't exist. They did away with it. Why? Because they want everybody to have the opportunity to compete against everybody with what they identify as. I don't have a problem with somebody identifying as something. That's not the issue.
Then make a special category for them.
Yeah, someone put that in here. There should be an LGBTQ side.
Don't got a problem with
to
that.
be fair, and I agree with that. Let them compete against each other the way it should be. But don't let this girl work from the age of 4 to now and then get beat up by some dude.
And here's what I would say with that. Okay, if you create an LGBT category, don't make it any less respectful than the other two. Right. It's a high esteem. It's credible.
Right.
But what we've done is, okay, this girl has aspired for 4 years to have a chance to win, going over there thinking she's competing against people of her own genetic ability. And what she found was she got in the ring. It's crushed.
And get punched in the nose twice and nearly, I think it broke her nose.
And she quit because she felt that if she stayed in that event,
she was going to get hurt.
She's going to get hurt bad. It's health-related issues.
One of the things, back to the opening ceremony, one of the things, of course, you had the drags and everything, but a lot of things that people probably didn't notice, we didn't touch on, was there was children in that group. Well, I was flipping through some photos, and I found this photo, and I just wanted to share it. Look at this. You got all these drags, but if you look at the gentleman here with his hand across, if you look right where the little fingers are pointing, you'll see a ball sack hanging out from underneath of whatever that is he's wearing. I mean, seriously? And there's children. If you pull the whole picture out, there is children right off to the side of him there, or she, whatever the heck that is. I got to watch what I see, but but I mean,
there's people in this country right now, Mike.
It's despicable.
Okay, there's people in this country that are fighting to preserve and protect the innocence of children. Okay, but you've got certain other factions that are fighting to incorporate books. Okay, there have been certain books that have been banned. Certain affiliations and groups are fighting to keep books that sexualize at early age. You don't want. Listen, there's a time and place for all that. And when kids come of age, don't start kindergarten. Shouldn't.
You see here, I got on the screen, it says 96% of Americans should not have to adjust their morals to accommodate to the 4% of the population. That's right. You know, but the sad part is the 4% politically, you know, gets more freedom than the 96% that actually don't want anything to do with it.
Well, the Olympic Games have, like I said, they've stirred up a lot of controversy. It's not about that. The Olympic Games is about tranquility. It's about peace. It's about nations competing with great sportsmanship, getting along. The seeing countries win medals that have never won medals, and people rising. The cream rises to the top. You know.
Well, then you got LeBron James over there carrying the torch to light the flame, and the man hates America. You know, I mean, he kneels for the national anthem. You know, here's some of that, you know, going on, you know, back a year or so ago. But there's a video during the national anthem of the opening night of Team USA's game. He's running around the arena shouting at the crowd while the national anthem's being played. You know, he's not even, to me, you don't even care about the country, you know, because you shouldn't, you know, if you disrespect the flag, you disrespect the national anthem, you can't care about the country. It goes along with the Statue of Liberty that you were speaking about earlier. And I don't know. It just, to me,
I just can't believe that
Team
people
USA
looks
like an embarrassment.
I just couldn't believe that people watched the opening ceremonies and tried to say that wasn't what they were watching. But yet, the Paris Olympic Committee has come out and publicly apologized.
That's what me and Deb talked about. If that wasn't what it was, then why did they apologize?
Yeah,
you know, because 100%. If me and you didn't do something that might have offended somebody, then why would we apologize? If you apologize, then you know exactly what you were doing, and it was done, and it bothered people, and that's why they came out. You wouldn't apologize if you didn't do something wrong.
It's been debated in our own community.
Yeah, right here. I've seen it right here locally, where people right here in Morgan County is they're
say it's a Greek. It was to Greek.
Well, not only that, they're praising it. They said it was a thing of beauty. A man dressed as a woman with big full-grown beards with his nuts hanging out and everything. I mean, I just don't see what's beautiful about that. And then the mockery of Jesus Christ and the Last Supper. I mean, I've got a Daytona Beach video that supposed to release before tonight, but, you know, I'll play it for you. But I'll just go ahead and sum up some of that. I don't agree with that. If you're a mockery and you're making a mockery of the Last Supper, then I don't know how you're going to walk into church tomorrow morning, because you're walking into church to worship a man that you basically just made fun of a week ago.
Well, I say this, I don't think it's right and would not be supportive, simply because this. One, people are entitled to believe in what they want to believe in. To me, religion, and listen to me, religion is an issue that can create a lot of controversy really fast. You can upset people, you know, if you were in a room full of Islamic followers, Muslims, and you started talking about Jesus, and you didn't make mention of Muhammad, they're probably going to become publicly offended. Here's what I say, I think you respect all religions. You respect it. What you believe is your belief. At the end of time, on your deathbed, you will find out whether it was right or it was wrong.
Well, I'm just going to tell you this.
There's a lot of people going to find out they're going to the wrong place.
And I'm not, and like I said, I know people are going to say, well, you shouldn't say that, but I mean,
France lost power, Matthew. France lost power.
The next night. The very next night, right before the Olympics started, there was a major power outage. I think someone mentioned it a minute ago, everywhere except for a church. The church never lost power there. But all everywhere else around where that was, they lost power.
And I don't want you to think I'm saying there's not a God.
I text you and said what? What did I text you and say?
God wins again.
God wins again. I said, because last night, You made a mockery of God, Jesus, everything to do with the Christianity. Tonight he's showing you don't mess with me.
Well, the Last Supper, the last thing that Jesus partook in before, in Christianity's belief and our belief is that before he was tortured and killed, it's a big thing for Christianity, and to make a mockery of it is ridiculous. But like you said, it's the only religion you can do it and you get by with. It's just like you can make fun of white people, you can exclude, you can say stuff about them, especially white men, and everything's okay. You can do that all you want to all day long. Women, we are still at a place where we're minorities, so we don't get as, it's still wrong to
Is
make
she
fun
agreeing
of us.
that she's a minority?
Yes, she is.
I thought earlier she was the majority.
What she said.
But no, I just like you said, I mean, there'll be like Matthew said, when your day comes and you pass on to the other side. A lot of you little Bible thumpers around here that are acting that way, I think they're going to go to a side they wish they didn't go to, but a side that they think that they're going to is going to close the doors in their face, especially the one upstairs. When you meet the man that's standing there saying, "No, you made a mockery of me and supported that, so now you go be with the other guy for a little while. We'll see how much you really like it."
You can pretend all you want to with humans. Yeah. He knows. So
I mean, we were talking about a story about it, wasn't it a parade?
Yeah, there was a
Where
parade.
they was mocking Jesus and something.
With the cross, like to his crucifixion. They were making a mockery of it. I can't remember where it was. I think it was Colorado.
Wherever it was, there was a flood happened right after that, and everybody that was a part of that parade got washed away in the flood. It's like that's one power you don't want to mess with.
Well, I mean, I just think religion is sacred, and it's just something that
and like you said,
you
it
know.
don't matter what religion you believe in.
I
Believe in whatever
yeah.
religion you want, but I mean, to sit here and let around here, there's not a whole lot of Buddhists.
I teach.
And stuff like
I've
that.
taught in the past. I've had the privilege of teaching in at the high school level about the five major religions of the world. And the one thing that I tried to pride myself on is I didn't say this religion was right and this religion was wrong. I just tried to convey the factual data that surrounded that religion. And what you tell people in the world is, and what people should be telling people is, you know, you believe what you want to believe and you believe in it wholeheartedly. And if that's what you believe, then you and your heart are right. Now, I can say that you're wrong, but on Judgment Day for all of us, we will find out what was right and what was wrong. And some people may be misled down the wrong road, and some people may. And
I just think it needs to be across the board. If you can't make fun of one, you can't make fun of another.
Well,
I
agree.
I got a funny feeling there's going to be a lot of people going.
White dudes for Kamala or whatever. You can't say white dudes for Trump, but I mean, it needs to be across the board. Let's not make exceptions for it.
Well, another thing you don't want to make exceptions for is the Appalachian people, the MAGA Republicans, or anybody that doesn't agree with the side of the left are weird. You're weirdos. You're weird. This week, here we are on this week again. I will say the last 2 weeks, since J.D. Vance was announced as Trump's vice president, the left has attacked him physically, made fun of his wife, who is, an Indian descent, I believe. It's Kamala. But Kamala, I'm sorry. And, just come out and basically call him a liar when talking about his Appalachian family ties, saying that all MAGA Republicans are weirdos and weird. And the only thing that I can think of is, where did they come off as having the right to call anybody in the hills or the Appalachian people weirdos? Let's just take a look at our government all of a sudden. This is your government right here. Each person here in these pictures holds some type of office in our government. The one guy in our government that actually called J.D. Vance weird is Pete Buttigieg,
Secretary of Transportation.
The man has a fake set of boobs on his body with a baby nursing it. But yet, J.D. Vance is weird. This cartoon came out earlier And, you've got Vance here, Secure Borders, Energy Independent American Jobs, and you've got Cackle. He's so weird. And then all these other, whatever you want to call them here, members of Congress. And you got that right. These people are fruitcake, Miranda says. So, I mean, you, you,
I'll take weird.
I would rather be weird than to be standing here as a 6'4", 270-pound man who just all of a sudden wants to be a woman and wants to go over and box the smallest little lady that I can find around here. Don't get no ideas. It's not going to happen. I'm not doing that on Halloween. But, but it's just, oh, I don't really know. I don't really know how to say it. I mean, without just coming off as being kind of mean in a way. It's like, you want to call us weird, but you basically support the political freak show that's walking around up there like that. I mean, it's
First thing that comes to my mind.
I don't know.
First thing
that
comes to my mind with all this and the issue of weird is how things have changed in 52 years of life.
And I'm not saying that
And
J.D. Vance isn't weird. Hell, he might be. I don't know. But to say that all mega Republicans and all the Appalachian people and anybody that would support Donald Trump or him would be weirdos.
Are you weird because does the left think people on that support Trump and are Republicans and are in agreement with the Make America Great Again movement are weird because we don't support what they support?
Obviously.
Would they not be considered weird from our perspective because they don't support what?
You're not allowed to say that.
I know that, but I'm saying.
Oh, you call one of them weird, you'll go to jail.
It doesn't matter who you are. If you don't believe like somebody and you believe differently from somebody, from one perspective, they're going to say you are weird. And they, on the other side, are going to say that the person that doesn't believe they are weird. I mean, that just kind of goes hand in hand. I mean, what are some of the names that the MAGA movement have been called? They've been called deplorables, domestic terrorists, racists. All right. So now you're weird. You're just plain out weird.
It's not very creative considering the other names.
Yeah.
No, I'd rather be weird, I guess, than walk around and thinking I'm a freaking woman, and trying to identify as that. But I love watching your facial expressions when stuff like that drops.
Well, I mean, and like I said, I don't have a problem with people. I mean, just because.
No, if you want to dress up as a woman,
I don't care what you do.
A nutcracker, whatever you want to dress up as, go on.
But
don't sit and talk about the people that want to dress normal and wear something like this and call us weird. I don't think he don't have one laying right there.
I do.
It came right from Daytona Beach.
And I will be wearing it with pride. You know me.
And it's a different one than this.
I'm probably going to vote for the convicted felon.
Yeah, well, I know I'm going to. Because I sure ain't voting for the cackler. But so somebody, you guys want to see something else that'll upset you.
Like I said, I tried to tell you all that those that are listening, I said that I was not 100% supportive of J.D. Vance as the vice presidential candidate. I said it's one of two reasons. Either one, it's about exposure.
But you didn't call him weird.
Trump has the ability to put people out in the forefront and he exposes them. Or two, there's some agenda that J.D. Vance can help further that can help Trump maybe win some states that he might not otherwise have won. For me, I didn't think J.D. Vance was the best choice. I think Ben Carlson was probably the more realistic, better choice for me because, like I said, I feel it's hard for me to get past the fact that J.D. Vance said terrible things against the very person that he is running with. But I have to be sometimes the bigger man and say that we are taught that we have to forgive and forget, turn the other cheek. People say things sometimes, Mike, that they don't mean. I'll be the first to say, I've said things sometimes that I didn't mean, and had to apologize.
Well, I still love you no matter what.
I know that, but I mean, but I didn't think J.D. Vance was the best candidate.
No, I
But
agree.
but what's happened over
I was actually kind of shocked.
but what's happened over the last week and a half since he's been named that is, he's been extremely vocal for Make America Great. He's spoken out against some of the things that he deems against his moral values, and he has the right to do that. We're not all taught to believe the same way, and I think diversity is not a bad thing. I think sometimes, diversity allows us to be different. It allows us to all enjoy different things and reflect individualism. I don't have a problem with that. But I don't want people coming into my life and telling me that, okay, because you believe this way, you're a deplorable. Because you believe this way, you're a racist. Because you believe this way, you're weird. I'm not saying it about you. Why do they say it about me? I really don't care.
They talk about Trump being a racist, but here is the racist guy accepting the Ellis Island Award with Rosa Parks and Muhammad Ali. So it's kind of odd that there's a nice looking young gentleman standing there accepting an award with those two people present.
My question is,
yet they say he's racist.
Okay. They think if he's accepting an award with probably one of the greatest heroines for the African American community in Rosa Parks, who is a hero to the African American. She's a hero to all people,
right,
because she stood up against hate, discrimination in the Montgomery bus boycott system.
She wasn't getting out of that seat either.
And you got to admire somebody. You've got Muhammad Ali.
He's probably the best fighter. Imagine that
pound
guy,
for pound in the world.
Imagine that guy in his prime going and fighting in the Olympics right now. So
okay, so has from the time Trump accepted this award till now, has Trump changed? Or is it that they just label him that because the media labels him that?
Well, if I can find this.
A tiger don't change its stripes. A leopard don't change its spots.
I know you want to hear this because you told me it was your favorite person.
Who's that?
Let me see if I can find her. Right there she is.
Who's that?
Right there. Let me get her up here. I know you love this one. You watch this show every weekday morning.
I have never watched it.
Don't lie to us now. All right, so I want you guys to listen to this and then watch the change here.
And she likes me. She even put me in a movie. She put me in a movie, right? A long time ago. How much should I judge? Nothing.
Like they say in the drama.
I love you.
I love you. And they're trying to humanize them and change your idea about who this guy is. Don't fall for that.
Trump, you're talking about.
So, that goes along with what Matthew's talking about. People that thought the world of Donald Trump, that was just 10 years ago or so, were big buddies with him, hanging out with him, have now turned around and, basically he sucks. Stay away from him.
Why, though? I mean, that's the question I ask. Why? What threat is he to them? Other than he's a threat to the political arena that's went on in this country for years, whereby
we were talking about weirdos. Here you go, guys. I mean, seriously, we're the weirdos. Come on.
Whereby some people, Mike, have made fame and fortune beyond anything you can possibly imagine, and their salaries don't dictate that. Look at those people in Washington, politicians on both sides. He's a threat to those people and a threat to their way of life. Yeah, the old saying is, and I don't mean this being mean, but this is an old saying: the rich get richer, and the poor get poorer. Those people like their lifestyles. They want to continue to maintain their lifestyles. If he's a threat to them, they're going to hate him.
But I got something you guys are really going to like, and then we'll close up with it because it's one of our favorite topics on the show. We talk about it all the time. Actually, it's been mentioned a few times tonight, but it is illegal immigrants and the border. Matthew's got, he had the picture too, but I have a picture here of a receipt This is a receipt that was taken at a grocery store. I'm not sure on the state. I
New
might
York.
say New York.
New York.
This is an illegal immigrant who. Let me pull it up here. This is an illegal immigrant who paid for groceries $24. Looks like 24.82 with EBT. But if you look up top, it says the EBT food stamp balance is $13,401.82 with an EBT cash balance of $4,498.85. Now, let that sink in. This is an illegal immigrant that's given a food stamp card that's got $13,000 on it. Now, who knows how much was on that card before? Obviously, it probably was more than that. And then that cash balance stands for what is that? Almost $4,500. So, I don't know. Well, but you had this picture too. But, what got me when I first saw that picture was we've got people. And I'm working on, we're working on documentaries right now down in Eastern Kentucky and stuff, talking to people in these areas. We've got people right here in Eastern Kentucky, as does other states, and veterans who are struggling for food, anything right now. And if they do give them food stamps, they give them like $40, a month. And right there's the proof that illegal immigrants have over $13,000 on a food stamp card and $4,500 in food EBT cash.
Yeah.
Well,
Why should that anger you?
Why should it anger
They
me?
haven't paid one time.
Because they're here illegally, for one.
Okay.
They've not paid zero taxes. And then Debbie Stacy says $20,000 in assistance, and this
Okay.
is
Here's
not
the
including
reason-
free
okay.
housing,
Here's
free health care. This is just what they get in and they also, I think, in New York too, wasn't it New York, where they were giving them $1,000 credit cards?
Yes.
And every month
They were
$1,000 reloads.
Yeah.
Like our credit cards, you get $1,000, you spend $500. Next month you still got $500 until you pay that other $5 off. Up there, they would pay $500. The next month they'd be $1,500.
That's in addition to giving you public housing.
Yeah,
taking veterans out of hotels.
So and
I'll
pull it up here.
Okay. Here's the reason you should be infuriated. Because what they're not telling you is every dollar of taxes that you send to them is being appropriated for this. How is that fair? At no point in your life, in my life, in your life, or the majority of people that are working class citizens, have we had someone look at us and say, we're going to give you money every month to ensure your survival, your food, your bodily needs, your housing. Most people are not afforded. They have to earn that. Now, I am going to say we were all given $2,000 during what?
During COVID as them stimulus.
But if they think for 1 minute that was free money, I told everybody when that first happened, I told my family, I said, we don't need to spend this money because there's going to be a great cost to spending this money. That great cost has been inflation over the last 4 years.
We're living it right now.
Yeah, they're getting every dime of it back and then some. Plus, your hard-earned tax dollars are going to help afford this assistance to people that are not even legalized citizens in this country. Now, I wish we had a policy where everybody could just get citizenship. And we do. But you have to follow what? You have to go by the rules, protocols that were established by the U.S. government. No, right now, they have circumvented the Constitution. They have circumvented the protocols. And what has happened is they've made up the rules as they go. And if you're not mad and you're not angry, you should be. Because we have U.S. veterans in this country that have put their life on the line, went to war, come home, damaged goods, post-traumatic stress syndrome. People think that's not a real thing. That is a real thing. soldiers that are victims of gunshot wounds, been blinded, maimed, handicapped, injured, and emotionally destroyed. But yet, we're not doing that for them. Why? Because right now, the defunding of the military is at its greatest priority.
They target our veterans too.
Well, I just came back from a place in Daytona, Daytona Beach, that I have never seen such horrible homelessness. And I had a guy approach me. Well, all kinds of them approached me asking for money, but one of them approached me. He didn't ask for money. He said, "I'm a homeless veteran, and I'd just like a few dollars to buy me something to eat." And I mean, that now you've seen the ones that's got the bloodshot eyes and needle marks, and they approach you and ask you for a few dollars. What they're wanting to buy drugs. But this guy approached, and he said, "I'm a homeless vet, and I just like to know if you got a few dollars to spare, so I could get something that, it shatters you. That shatters you to know that right across the street is a group of illegal immigrants who ain't even supposed to be here that are carrying out handfuls of chicken and pizzas and anything else that they want to get over here, and this veteran's sitting here having to beg for a few dollars on the street. It's horrible. And that's not just in Daytona. I've seen it in Lexington. I've seen it in Louisville. It's happening.
There's not a place in the United States
actually,
that's not happening.
Moorhead. I see it in Moorhead. There's people standing at Walmart says homeless vets. Now, it's horrible.
Well, and what's happened is we've made the term sanctuary cities a commonality. We've normalized it. We're going to bring people over. We're just going to take them to cities where they're sanctuary cities. Those cities will, but yet those people now, the political leaders, those cities are now saying we don't want any more because we can't publicly afford it.
Matthew, I thought refugee, like being able to come under refugee meant that there was something major going on, like,
war status.
Rights, that you were leaving something that was dangerous or whatever. We have people coming in this country from China. We have people coming in this country from Jamaica. They're just from everywhere. And those countries are not necessarily listed as, somebody would be coming from.
But they're potential voters.
Well, I know.
They're potential voters. And they can help. They can help alter and change elections in this country.
Well,
but I am going to tell you there was this week something that was passed for voter and election integrity. In the state of Arizona, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals passed a policy that says no citizen, no vote.
Mm-hmm. And the left is absolutely blowing the top. Where was it last night? It was in the street, maybe New York. I don't know. It was in a city street. Thousands of protesters in the streets begging for illegals to have the right to vote. Why? Because you know why. They have to be able to have that vote to be able to win this election coming up. It's just the way it is. Got anything else? You got anything else that happened this week? Because it seems like everything's happened this week. 1 week to the next.
Ninth Circuit Court passed a bill that.
See if I got anything here. What is these things?
Injury liability of vaccine companies.
What the heck?
That's big. Okay, that these 1986 they repealed liability for pharmaceutical companies for any damages incurred. This week, the Ninth Circuit Court passed a legislation that liability could be held, that these companies, pharmaceutical companies, could be held liable for myocarditis, pericarditis, heart damage, failed pregnancies.
One thing was too, though, that especially with the COVID vaccine and stuff, was that
they deemed the COVID
vaccine for prevention. It was a vaccine for
treatment.
That was supposed to make
and that's why, because it wasn't to prevent. It wasn't to prevent COVID. It was to reduce the symptoms and help you to overcome the symptoms. Therefore, they didn't recognize the COVID vaccine as a vaccine. They recognize it as a treatment, and they're liable.
That's right.
And you're going to find that could come back to haunt them big time.
No people bankrupt them.
That could happen. Yeah.
If I had to pick who I think Kamala's vice president candidate should be, right here's my pick, because these two are two peas in a pot.
She is the one that said something about going to the sun to do something.
She
about
wants to take that tour to the sun and
She's
collect
actually
samples.
fired up about the whole thing. She actually did like an hour-long Instagram live that she said, if you think it's the consensus of the Democratic Party to get rid of Joe Biden, then you're badly mistaken. Like, she was very upset, and to give it to Kamala or whatever.
Kamala.
I'm sorry.
Kamala. Not Kamala. Kamala. You have to say it right or it's a hate speech.
She did. She actually spoke out against it. I was surprised because I'm not a big AOC fan, but I was surprised that she.
Hey, she wouldn't know if you was a fan.
Her and Bernie Sanders actually came out and was not for Biden being taken out and Kamala being put in.
Nice. But if you're not a Kamala fan, there is another person on the ballot that you can vote for, and it's Mr. Hood himself. Look at that, throwing the signs up. Look at that, man. He's got the sign going.
I saw something this week, too, where RFK, Robert Francis Kennedy Jr., had mentioned that he was going to possibly stop his campaign, and that he had met with Trump, and if Trump were to win, he would take an important position within the Trump administration. So
that'd be all right.
We'll see.
I think we all can handle
I
that.
can even get his family to endorse him. Seriously, like, I feel bad for him.
I don't know. Well, I wonder what will happen in the next week.
Well, I am going to say, I'm going to leave you on this. August is going to be hot. And not because of temperatures.
That's been the last few days.
But it's going to reveal a lot of stuff. There'll be a lot of developments over August. It will be hot.
So you're saying that there could be more of these live shows in the month of August than they have been in a long time?
Yeah, it's going to be hot. It's going to be hot. Democratic National Convention, I think, is next week. Yep. We'll see what happens. It's not 100% guarantee that
I ain't going to say that I'm going to watch every bit of it.
I know that, but it's not 100% guarantee that Kamala will get the bid for the nomination.
Well, no, we had actually read and heard that the reason why Trump was refusing to debate her was because she hadn't officially been to the DNC yet and been nominated as their nominee or whatever, had the endorsement and whatever what it is they do with all the things, because if he debated her before then and she sucked it up, they can get rid of her and bring somebody else in. I mean, hell, the man could go to November with a new opponent every month, and it's
wouldn't surprise me.
So, I don't know.
One bit.
You got anything?
No. It's been real. It's been fun.
It's been fun, guys. Like I said, hope everybody's enjoyed it. I mean, we gave you straight down to the source, showed you pictures right from sources, bringing it right to you. Like we said earlier in the beginning, we want to bring everybody the news and stuff, the top stories that we can, and more than likely be back this coming weekend or 2 weeks. Somewhere in the next week to 2 weeks, you'll see us again because Matthew said it's going to be hot.
It's going to be hot.
And if it's going to be hot, we're going to be live. So
did I say hot?
Hot.
Sizzling.
All right. About like the banana peppers that was on our pizzas earlier, right?
Yeah.
So,
sizzling.
That is not my fault.
Them are good homemade pizzas. I ain't gonna lie, except for that thing over there. And it was a little bit different, but
it was good.
We'll figure it out. But all right, guys, everybody take care. We appreciate you tuning in, and until the next time, have a good night. Be safe. Don't yell at each other. Everybody try to get along, and we'll see you guys the next time. Take